Hey guys, on today's video, I wanted to talk about how do you know if you have a drinking problem. I always go on about how to get through life, how to get through hardships, how to get through emotions and feelings, but the simple question is, how do you even know if you have a drinking problem? Because there's no formula, there's no equation that just says, hey, you might have a problem with your drinking. And even if there is, it's not going to work for every single person because we all drink differently. We all have different bottoms or highs or lows or whatever words you want to use. That's part of why it's really hard to determine what a problem drinker is, what a heavy drinker is, what a person that's struggling with drinking looks like or using drugs looks like, because we all handle it differently. We all hide differently and we all go through this differently. For me, it was very easy. I knew I was a heavy drinker. I drank 30 beers a day. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But it wasn't always like that. There were signs early on that maybe I was going to turn out to be a heavy drinker. Drinking as a teenager, my first drunk was a blackout. I got blacked out drunk in Singapore. That's typically not the same story for a lot of people. A lot of people just have a sip with their parents' glass of wine. And sure, I had a few of those, but I don't really count my drinking as beginning until I was 16 and until I had went to Singapore and I had taken that drink so much that I blacked out. That is when I consider my drinking to have begun. And it kind of showed me what my drinking was going to be like. I just wasn't ready or able to see it at the age of 17. So my next time I drank, it wasn't as extreme. I didn't drink for months after that because I didn't want to lose that control. I didn't want to be that blackout drinker. I didn't know it was a blackout drinker at the time. I just knew I couldn't remember what had happened, and that scared me because that means I put myself in a situation where I knew nothing. And that's terrifying as a woman, and it's terrifying as a person and a human. So the next time I drank, I limited it to beer. And I drank a few beers and it was fine, and it was like, woohoo, lots of fun, right? But then I drank again after that. And then I realized that I was drinking. And it's easy to look back now at the age of 31 and be like, okay, so this is what I drink like. But at the age of 17 and 18, I couldn't really see it. I didn't know I was going to have a problem. I thought I was drinking like every other teenager. And that's the scary thing is, as kids and teenagers grow up, they start drinking, typically, not always, and they develop this habit of drinking, and they brush it off as, oh, well, I'm just drinking because all the other teenagers do, or I'm just drinking because that's what college students do, or I'm just drinking because that's what 20-year-olds do. There's always this excuse in the society to drink. So how do you know when you drink too much? How do you know when one is too many? How do you know when you go from that switch of, oh, I'm just drinking for fun with college kids or in high school or as a 20-year-old to, I can't stop thinking about drinking. I go home at the end of work and I drink to cope with my life. I go home at the end of the day and I pop some pills because that's how I find relief. That's how I numb myself out. So let's discuss, how do I know as a person drinking if I have a drinking problem? And we're going to start with drinking mainly because drinking is the most accepted form of numbing out in society, it feels like. It's almost more acceptable to drink at times than it is to eat sugar. Because recently I've seen so many articles on how addictive sugar is, but I never see those articles on alcohol. That's a whole different topic. So say I work 9 to 5 and I come home every single night and I have a beer or I have a bottle of wine or I have a few beers. That's no big deal, right? Because I mean, it's just a few beers, it's just a bottle of wine. It's no big deal. I mean, that's what most people drink, right? But what if I do it every single day? If I'm drinking 1 bottle of wine every single day, what is that doing to my body? What is that doing to my liver, my organs, my face? Because, I mean, I'm human, so I do have an ego. So I care about what my face looks like. the way my body feels. How is it waking up in the mornings? Is it easy? Is it hard? Am I sluggish? Am I forgetting things? What about my teeth? What color are my teeth? My eyes, are they red? Is my face puffy? These are just very simple questions to ask, because a bottle of wine doesn't seem like that big of a deal. A few beers doesn't seem that big of a deal. I mean, most tech companies in San Francisco have beer Fridays. No big deal, right? They're just saying that you should just go relax at the end of the week, right? Relax with some beer, relax with some alcohol. But what's the other side of it? What's it actually doing to your body? And are you willing to pay that price for your body? Do you enjoy waking up sluggish? Do you enjoy missing little pieces of your life? Do you remember what you did last night? Do you enjoy the impact it's having on your body, on your teeth, on your hair? You drink enough, your hair falls out. You drink enough, your teeth change colors. You drink enough, you gain weight. You drink enough, your organs start failing. And that's usually way down the line. But this can happen. And it just starts with that one bottle of wine a night, because eventually the one bottle of wine a night isn't enough. And then you might start justifying 1.5 bottles of wine. And when does it end? When does it become enough is enough for you to determine that you have a drinking problem? Drinking problem doesn't mean you're an alcoholic. You don't have to apply a label to yourself to admit that you don't like how you're drinking. You don't have to go to a rehab. You don't have to join a 12-step recovery program. Maybe all you have to do is be like, I'm not happy with how I'm drinking, so I'm not going to drink. That's the easy solution. Cutting down, stopping it, not drinking, becoming a non-drinker or a teetotaler. There's so many advantages to just not drinking that we don't always hear about, because I read articles all the time also on how a beer a day is great for your gut health, or wine is good for your heart. But so is not drinking. You want to look younger and you don't want to pay for Botox to get those wrinkles out? Stop drinking. You want to feel healthier and happier and have more energy? Lay off the wine, lay off the beer. You want to have a longer, healthier life? Cutting back on your alcohol can provide that with you. Again, it does not mean you're an alcoholic. It doesn't even mean you have a problem with drinking. It just means you're changing your health. You're changing the way you do things, because we don't all have to fall in line like a pack of sheep. We get to determine how we drink. We get to determine what we put in our bodies. So maybe you're not a heavy drinker or a problem drinker, but those are some easy ways to determine. And taking away the stigma of calling yourself an alcoholic or going to rehab kind of lifts the weight off your shoulders, because not everyone who doesn't drink is an alcoholic. There's non-drinkers, there's teetotalers, there's people who've never touched alcohol in their life. And they're pretty amazing, and they have no regrets. What about drugs? Drugs are different, especially in the US, because now you get into the fact that most doctors will prescribe opiates pretty easy. And I'm from California, so opiates comes with like this whole new thing where they've tried to tighten it by, if you want more opiates, you have to go see your physician in order to get a new handwritten prescription to take to the pharmacy to get the opiates. Seems like legit. It seems like it would work. Most cases, it doesn't. I had knee surgery after I got sober from alcohol, and I had knee surgery March of 2017. After knee surgery, even before I had knee surgery, the physician's assistant handed me a prescription for opiates. He also handed me a prescription for narcotic pain pills. And he's like, take whichever one you want. See which one works best for you. I'm like, you do realize I'm an alcoholic, so I might find myself easily addicted to pills, because that's how my brain works. And he's like, it's okay, just see what works and throw away the rest. Simple, right? Luckily for me, I know the warning signs. I know when my brain is becoming attached to something, and I'm finding that easy out. And I don't like how pain pills make me feel. And I can feel the mental strain, the weirdness, the temptation. It's there. And then it was easy to just go in for the follow-up and be like, maybe I need more. Here you go. No issue. And then before you know it, you're addicted. Or maybe you're not addicted. Maybe you just take them occasionally for fun. So Same concept as drinking. How do you know you have a problem? When you're not happy with what you're doing. That's all it comes down to. If you're not happy with how something makes you feel, makes you act, if you find yourself unable to say no or using it more often and you don't like it, make a change. There's nobody that needs to tell you you have a problem drinking or using drugs or doing an activity or using a substance. It's up to you. You have to make that decision. Nobody can make it for you. And making that decision doesn't mean you're an alcoholic or a drug addict. It doesn't mean you can't do it for the rest of your life. It just means maybe you have a problem, or maybe you're not happy with your body and how it's reacting to this. So maybe you should chill out for a while. So thanks so much for listening, and take care.